In the peaceful little village of Willow Creek, nestled between misty hills and green meadows, lived an elderly couple named George and Helen. They had spent most of their lives in a cozy wooden cottage surrounded by a small, colorful garden that bloomed with flowers and vegetables all year round. Although they had no children, they never felt lonely, for they had Max, their golden-haired dog who loved to run around the garden. Every morning, when the rooster crowed, Max would trot to their bedside, bark softly to wake them up, and follow them outside to greet the first rays of sunlight. George often said, "If there's anything that makes me truly happy, it's this garden and our little Max." Helen would smile gently and stroke Max's head. "And our grateful hearts for all that life has given us." One spring morning, while George was digging a new patch of soil for his vegetables, Max began barking loudly and scratching at the ground near an old, withered tree. Thinking Max had found a mouse, George went over, but soon noticed something hard buried beneath the soil. He grabbed his shovel and dug deeper. To his surprise, he unearthed an old clay jar covered in moss. Helen hurried over, curious, and when they opened it, they found golden seeds inside, shimmering brightly under the morning sun. Perhaps they're from some rare plant, George wondered aloud, his eyes filled with curiosity. Or maybe they're magic seeds. Helen chuckled, half teasing. Though uncertain, they decided to plant a few in the new garden bed. Max wagged his tail happily, as if cheering them on. A few days later, something miraculous happened. The seedlings grew unusually fast, and when night fell, they glowed softly with a warm golden light, like tiny lanterns swaying in the breeze. A gentle fragrance filled the air, bringing a sense of calm and joy to the entire garden. News spread quickly through the village. People came to see the wondrous sight, amazed by the golden bloom, as they called it, a flower no one had ever seen before. But not everyone was happy for them. Their neighbor, Mr. Blake, a wealthy but selfish man, grew envious. From his window, he watched the glowing garden and muttered, "Just an old gardener." And suddenly the whole village praises him. There must be some secret behind this. That night, driven by greed, Blake sneaked into George's garden while they slept. He stole a handful of golden seeds and planted them in his own soil, hoping to grow the same glowing flowers and make a fortune. But when his plants sprouted, there was no light, no fragrance, only thorny stems and withered leaves. When he touched them, the thorns pricked his hand, drawing blood. Furious and humiliated, he shouted, "They must have used dark magic. They tricked us all." The next morning, Blake stormed to George's home with a few curious villagers and the village head. "Mr. Cooper, you used witchcraft to make those flowers glow," he accused. "Even that dog must be under some spell." George and Helen were stunned. "What are you saying, Blake? We only planted what we found while gardening. Everything happened naturally," George replied calmly. Max growled softly, sensing the tension. Mr. Cooper raised his hand. "Let the garden speak for itself," he said wisely. As the sun set, everyone gathered in George's garden. Max ran ahead, leading them to the glowing flower bed. Just then, the flowers shone brighter than ever, filling the air with a sweet, soothing scent. The villagers stood silent in awe. Mr. Cooper smiled and said, "This isn't magic. It's a rare flower that was thought to be extinct, a plant that only blooms in fertile soil and under the care of kind hearts." He turned to Blake, his tone gentle but firm. "Your soil is filled with envy and greed. Nothing good can grow from that." Blake lowered his head in shame. I'm sorry," he murmured. Helen smiled kindly. "It's all right, Blake. Every garden can bloom again, if you nurture it with goodness." George even offered him a few ordinary seeds to start anew. The villagers were deeply moved by their kindness. From that day on, Blake truly changed. He worked hard to tend his garden, growing rows of fresh green vegetables. Max became known as the guardian of the lucky garden. Every evening, he would rest among the glowing golden flowers, his eyes half closed in peace. And people in Willow Creek would say that if you passed by that garden with kindness in your heart, you might see the golden flowers shine a little brighter, a gentle greeting from Max, and a reminder of the quiet happiness that George and Helen shared. The tale of George, Helen, And Max reminds us that true beauty and happiness don't come from magic, but from kindness and sincerity. Just as the golden seeds only bloomed in pure soil, joy takes root in hearts that know how to love and give. Envy and greed can turn life barren, but compassion and gratitude can make even the simplest garden glow with light. When we nurture goodness within ourselves, the world around us begins to bloom too.